Hey there. If you woke up this morning feeling okay, your arms and legs moving just fine, your memory sharp, your heart beating nice and steady, then I want to say congratulations. Because you might have just dodged something I've seen far too often in my patients: a stroke. That one moment when your brain doesn't get enough blood, and in just a matter of minutes, everything can change. Permanently. And here's the part that scares me the most. Strokes don't usually come from big dramatic events. They sneak up through tiny little morning habits, the ones we all brush off as harmless. That's why I want to invite you to take a closer look with me. We're going to dive into 10 super common morning habits that might seem innocent, but can be surprisingly dangerous for the aging brain. And once you're aware of them, you can make a few simple changes to protect yourself and the people you care about. Because in the end, how we treat our brain each morning plays a huge role in the kind of life we get to live, and how clearly we get to think, feel, and show up every day. So if you care about your health and about those around you, don't forget to share this video and subscribe to Wellness Unfolds. This is where your journey to a healthier brain begins. Morning habit 1. Holding your urine too long. When you're delaying what your body is desperately asking for. I want to ask you a simple question. This morning, right after waking up, did you feel the need to pee, but stayed in bed for a few more minutes? Maybe you were just feeling too lazy to get up, or maybe you got caught up scrolling through the news on your phone, or maybe you just thought, it's not urgent yet. If that sounds like you, you're definitely not alone. Lots of people, especially after age 60, get used to delaying their morning bathroom trips, thinking it's no big deal. But that habit, which seems harmless, can actually put your brain on high alert, and sadly, not everyone realizes that. When you sleep, your body is working hard all night, regulating your internal clock, cleansing your brain, filtering your blood, and your kidneys are quietly doing their job. By morning, your bladder is full, sending a very clear message: I need to be emptied. But when you choose to lie there longer or ignore that feeling to do something else, you're putting your nervous system under unnecessary strain. Your body responds by releasing stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, raising your blood pressure, speeding up your heart rate, and most importantly, causing your blood vessels to constrict. If you have a history of high blood pressure, hardened arteries, or are simply at an age where your blood vessels have started to weaken, this reaction is like a tiny bomb ticking off every morning. Sudden spikes in blood pressure can rupture tiny blood vessels in your brain, causing localized blood shortages. And if you're unlucky enough to have a pre-existing blood clot or narrowed artery, this can easily trigger a stroke. I once treated a woman named Helen, 74 years old, living alone in Oregon. She was otherwise healthy, no major heart issues. But one April morning, she suddenly fainted in her bathroom, hitting her head on the sink. Thankfully, no serious injury, but we found signs of a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke. When we dug into her morning routine, she admitted she often lay in bed reading news for at least 30 minutes after waking, despite feeling the urge to pee. No one had ever told her this could be dangerous, and that's why I'm talking to you today. Holding your pee in the morning doesn't just raise your blood pressure, it can also mess with your heartbeat. A bladder that's too full triggers the vagus nerve reflex, which can make your heart race, beat irregularly, or even make you feel dizzy. If you're on blood pressure or diuretic meds, this risk goes even higher because you're putting your body in a tough spot right when it's most vulnerable, first thing in the morning. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it so you understand something important. Health after 60 doesn't come from big, heroic decisions. It comes from the little things, like whether you get up to pee right when your body tells you to. It's how you treat your body. It's listening to those signals your body sends every morning. It's choosing whether your brain starts the day peacefully or has to fight unnecessary pressure. So, starting tomorrow morning, when you wake up and feel that urge, I want you to do something simple. Just go. Don't stay in bed. Don't check your phone first. Don't wait until you absolutely have to. Go early. Not just for comfort, but to protect your brain and heart. You might think this is small, but remember, strokes don't happen overnight. They are the result of tiny things you repeat every day without realizing it. Like a leaking roof, water drips, drips, until one day the ceiling collapses and we wish we'd fixed the roof sooner. You don't need to fix the roof today. Just get up on time when your body calls. Going to the bathroom right away is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself every morning. Habit 2. Skipping drinking water right after waking up. Don't let your brain start the day dehydrated. Have you ever noticed that when you open your eyes in the morning, your body feels like it just came back from a long journey? Dry mouth, heavy breathing, sometimes a little lightheaded? That's not just a feeling, it's a signal. A quiet message from your body, from your brain telling you, I'm dehydrated and I need your help. Many of us have the habit of starting the morning with a cup of coffee, or worse, not drinking anything at all. Wake up, brush teeth, get dressed, then off to work, and before you know it, it's almost noon, and you finally remember to drink water. But here's the thing. Something as simple as drinking water right after waking up might be one of the most important things you do to protect your heart and brain, especially if you're over 60. Let me explain it simply. While you sleep, your body doesn't get any water for 6 to 8 hours, but it's still working. Breathing, sweating lightly, filtering blood, detoxifying through your liver and kidneys. So by morning, the water content in your blood drops significantly. The plasma, the watery part of your blood, gets lower, making your blood thicker. And when blood thickens, your heart has to work much harder to pump it to every organ, especially your brain. Your brain is the most sensitive organ to lack of oxygen and blood flow. It's only 2% of your body weight, but it uses about 20% of your oxygen and glucose. If your blood thickens and your morning blood pressure is already naturally higher due to your body's rhythm, this combination puts extra pressure on your blood vessels, increasing the risk of stroke, brain ischemia, even irregular heartbeat. All just because you forgot or didn't prioritize drinking water right after waking. I once had a patient named Mark, 67 years old, who lived a very disciplined life. He ate healthy, walked every morning, didn't smoke. But he had one habit, never drinking water in the morning. I'm not thirsty, so I don't drink, he said. That's why he ended up in the hospital after a mild brain ischemic event, feeling dizzy and slurring his words while walking his dog. His blood tests showed unusually high viscosity. And guess what? That morning he hadn't had a single sip of water. You don't have to wait until you're thirsty to drink. Thirst isn't a reliable indicator of dehydration, especially as we age. The older you get, the less sensitive your thirst mechanism becomes. Waiting until you feel thirsty means your body is already in a red alert state. So drink before you're thirsty. Drink proactively to protect yourself. Here's what I want you to do. Keep a glass of room temperature water right next to your bed and drink it as soon as you wake up. No need for it to be cold, no lemon or honey needed, just clean water at a comfortable temperature. Enough to kickstart your circulation, naturally thin your blood, and prepare your heart for a steady day ahead. Drinking water right after waking also helps with digestion, cleanses your intestines, and reduces constipation, common issues for middle-aged and older adults. But more importantly, it's an unnamed medicine for your brain and blood vessels. It doesn't come from a pharmacy. It comes from the glass you hold each morning. I understand many people find it hard to drink water first thing in the morning, but you can build this habit gradually. Start with half a glass, then increase. Remember, a small daily action repeated consistently makes a big difference. Like watering a plant, if you wait until it wilts, it's often too late. And if you take blood pressure meds, heart meds, or diuretics, drinking water properly in the morning is even more crucial, because when your blood is thinned naturally, your meds get absorbed better, work more effectively, and cause fewer side effects. That glass of water, seemingly insignificant, is actually the best companion for every pill you take afterward. So try this starting tomorrow. Don't just jump up, brush your teeth, then grab coffee. Sit up slowly, pick up that glass of water, and let your body silently thank you. It's not just alertness. It's a way of telling yourself, I'm choosing to live proactively. I'm taking care of my brain, heart, and clarity. starting from the very first moment of the day. Start with a glass of water, and you'll see, not every big change needs to begin with a revolution. Sometimes, just a simple glass, at the right time, the right way, can be an act that saves your future. Habit 3. Managing stress and getting enough sleep, protecting your brain and blood vessels. Have you ever found yourself feeling tired and stressed on days when you barely did anything? Your head feels heavy, your mind's racing, and your blood pressure seems to spike for no obvious reason? Well, that mysterious fatigue and pressure probably come from invisible weight piling up in your mind, worries, anxieties, or even fears that quietly linger beneath your awareness. And here's the thing I want you to understand. Stress isn't just about feeling overwhelmed emotionally. It physically affects your body, especially your brain and blood vessels. When stress drags on, your body pumps out a hormone called cortisol, sometimes called the stress hormone. In small doses, it helps you respond to challenges. But too much cortisol is harmful. It pushes your blood pressure higher, tightens your blood vessels, and sparks inflammation that damages the delicate lining inside your brain arteries. This is why people under constant stress often have unstable blood pressure and disturbed brain circulation, setting the stage for stroke. I remember a patient named Linda, 68 years old, a loving mom and grandma, full of life but weighed down by family and work pressures. She struggled with poor sleep and woke up feeling tense like a stretched violin string. One day, while playing with her grandchild, she suddenly felt dizzy and faint. That moment was a wake-up call for her to realize how much stress and sleepless nights were silently harming her brain health. Determined to change, she started meditating for 5 to 10 minutes every morning and made sure to get 7 to 8 hours of good sleep nightly. The results? Her blood pressure stabilized, her mind cleared, and she felt far less anxious. Sleep isn't just rest. Deep sleep helps your brain flush out toxins collected throughout the day, renew nerve cells, and boost blood flow. When sleep is cut short or restless, these vital processes are disrupted, allowing damage to build in the brain's blood vessels, quietly increasing the risk of stroke and neurological diseases. Now, about meditation. I'm not asking you to sit in complicated poses for hours. Just 5 to 10 peaceful minutes focused on your breath or a calming image can create a moment of quiet in your soul. This small ritual lowers cortisol and balances your blood pressure more than you might expect. Imagine this. Every day you give your brain a gift, peace and rest it needs to keep going strong for the next 24 hours. That gift can be wrapped up simply in the quiet corner of your bedroom or a cozy spot in your home. So if you want to protect your brain's blood vessels and reduce stroke risk, remember, managing stress and sleeping well isn't some impossible goal. It just takes a little mindfulness and consistency. Start by giving yourself permission to pause, take a deep breath, and truly rest. Ask yourself, did I make time today to relax and recharge? Am I letting stress damage my health? If the answer is no, don't wait. Begin your change now for a peaceful brain, healthy blood vessels, and a longer, sharper, more energized life. Habit 4, getting up too fast. Morning shock that can harm your brain. Have you ever woken up and felt dizzy or lightheaded the moment you jump out of bed? I bet many of us have experienced that unpleasant sensation at least once. It's unsettling. Sometimes you need to sit back down or even worry about falling when you try to walk. But here's the real deal. If this happens often and goes unchecked, it quietly raises your risk of stroke. Let me explain why. After a long night's rest, your body is in full relaxation mode. Your heart rate slows and your blood pressure drops to its lowest point of the day. Blood flows slower, and your circulation is essentially in standby. When you suddenly shift from lying down to standing, your circulation can't keep up with the quick change. The result? A drop in blood pressure called orthostatic hypotension, meaning your brain doesn't get enough blood for a brief moment. That's when dizziness, blurry vision, or even fainting can occur. And this sudden lack of blood flow can set the stage for serious strokes down the line. I clearly remember a patient named John, 72 years old, a healthy man with no heart or blood pressure problems. He lived actively and enjoyed morning walks. But one morning he jumped out of bed too fast. The dizziness hit him hard, causing him to lose balance and fall in his bedroom. Luckily, he wasn't badly hurt, but doctors found he had orthostatic hypotension, a common but dangerous condition if ignored. Since then, John changed his routine. Every morning, he spends 1 to 2 minutes sitting on the edge of his bed, taking deep breaths, and giving his body time to adjust before standing. The dizziness stopped, and he feels much better overall. Think of your body like an old car that's been parked overnight. You wouldn't just slam the gas and speed off immediately. You'd start the engine, let it warm up, then drive slowly. Your body needs the same gentle warm-up. Blood must climb from your heart to your brain, vessels need to dilate, and blood pressure must stabilize. Rushing forces your body to operate under strain, cutting off blood flow to your brain and causing symptoms like dizziness or fainting. This issue is even more dangerous after age 60 when blood vessels begin to harden or narrow. Every time your blood pressure drops suddenly, your brain cells get less oxygen, causing damage over time. Multiple episodes raise your stroke risk noticeably. You might wonder, how do I know if I have orthostatic hypotension? Common signs are dizziness or lightheadedness when standing, sometimes nausea. If you've fallen or nearly fallen after standing up in the morning, take that as a serious warning. So, how do you protect yourself? The answer is simple. Give your body time to adjust when changing positions. Don't jump out of bed immediately after waking. Sit up slowly, breathe deeply for a minute or two, watch the morning light, think about the day ahead, or simply focus on your breathing to calm your mind. Then, stand up gently and start moving slowly. This small habit improves blood flow to your brain, reduces sudden blood pressure drops, and prevents dangerous dizziness. Habit 5. Eating a high-sodium breakfast, the silent enemy hurting your brain's blood vessels. Have you ever stopped to think that your everyday breakfast choices, seemingly simple and harmless, might quietly be increasing your risk of stroke? Especially foods high in salt and processed ingredients like prepackaged toast, sausages, cheese, or instant oatmeal. These are the silent enemies, silently pushing your blood pressure up, stiffening your arteries, and damaging the delicate vessels in your brain. I remember a patient of mine, Helen, 65 years old, who believed she was eating healthily by grabbing convenient packets of instant oatmeal or sausage sandwiches from the local grocery store. But after a few months, her blood pressure steadily rose, sometimes dangerously high, and she started having frequent headaches and fatigue. When we took a closer look, Helen was shocked to find out that the salt hidden in her breakfast was the main culprit. Salt, or sodium, is essential for our body, but when consumed in excess, it becomes a dangerous foe. Salt makes your blood hold more water, which raises pressure on vessel walls and drives your blood pressure higher. Over time, this prolonged hypertension causes your arteries to lose elasticity, becoming stiff and fragile. Those tiny, delicate blood vessels in your brain bear the brunt, becoming prone to rupture or blockage, a major cause of strokes. Here's something you might not know. Mornings are naturally when your blood pressure is highest during the day. So if you load your body with a heavy dose of salt right at the start, it's like piling extra weight on an already overworked circulatory system. When this happens day after day, not only does your blood pressure spiral out of control, but your chances of heart disease and stroke skyrocket. So how do you enjoy a tasty breakfast that protects your brain health? I want you to consider simple, wholesome options like fresh fruit, boiled eggs without salt, plain oats, or whole grain cereals. These foods give you sustained energy, help you stay sharp, and don't raise your blood pressure or damage your vessels. Imagine starting your day with a crisp, sweet apple, a softly boiled egg, and a bowl of unsalted oatmeal. The taste might be simple, but the power behind it is tremendous, giving your brain cells and blood vessels the care they deserve right from the get-go. Also, be sure to read labels on packaged foods carefully. You'd be surprised how many healthy or organic products pack a salty punch. Try to limit your morning sodium intake to about 300 to 400 milligrams or less if you have a history of high blood pressure. A good breakfast habit doesn't just help control blood pressure. It improves blood flow, reduces inflammation in your body, and boosts brain function. You might notice a real difference after just a few weeks, feeling more alert, less tired, and most importantly, reassured about your health. Have you ever thought that a small tweak in your diet could save your life? Don't let a salty breakfast steal away your precious years. Take care of yourself by starting each day with nourishing, gentle foods that powerfully protect your brain and heart. This is the most precious gift you can give yourself every morning, and I truly believe that if you stick with it, you'll feel positive changes not just in your body but also in your spirit. Habit 6. Keep your blood sugar steady. A simple way to protect your brain and prevent stroke. Let me ask you something you may not have thought about lately. Did you know your blood sugar levels don't just affect diabetes? In fact, unstable blood sugar is one of the silent threats that can quietly damage the blood vessels in your brain and raise your risk of stroke. That's why I want to talk with you about something simple but powerful: keeping your blood sugar steady, day in and day out. I remember one of my patients, Mr. Michael. He was 68 years old, a cheerful man who brushed off his slightly elevated sugar levels with a smile. "I'm not diabetic," he said, "just a little high sometimes, nothing serious." But the problem was, his sugar levels would swing wildly, high after a big meal, crashing later, and each of those swings was silently damaging the tiny, delicate blood vessels in his brain. Over time, that damage made it harder for blood to circulate smoothly and laid the groundwork for blood clots to form, the kind that can block blood flow and trigger a stroke. See, every time we eat too many sugary foods, refined carbs, or sweet treats, our blood sugar shoots up. Then, the body has to release insulin fast to bring that sugar back down. When this roller coaster happens too often, it causes inflammation and oxidation that wear out the blood vessels. On top of that, the spike in sugar makes the blood thicker and stickier, a perfect recipe for clots that can block blood flow to the brain. You might have heard the term blood sugar variability. It's a fancy way of saying your blood sugar's all over the place, and that's actually much more dangerous than most people realize. If you're over 50 or have a family history of diabetes, tracking your blood sugar regularly isn't just a smart idea, it's a must. Now, keeping blood sugar stable doesn't mean giving up everything you love. It's about balance. I always tell my patients, fill your plate with leafy greens, low-sugar fruits, whole grains, nuts, and healthy proteins like fish, tofu, or lean meat. And try your best to cut back on processed sugar, soft drinks, candy, and fried foods. If it helps, picture your blood sugar like a car on the highway of your bloodstream. When it runs smooth, no problem. The road stays solid. But if that car speeds up and slows down unpredictably, it tears up the road. Over time, those cracks become serious damage, broken vessels, blocked flow. And that's how strokes happen. And this isn't just about food. Light daily movement, like walking, yoga, or breathing exercises, can really help. So can sleeping well and managing your stress. It's all connected. Checking your blood sugar doesn't have to be expensive or complicated either. These days, home glucose monitors are affordable and easy to use. You can take charge by tracking changes early and adjusting before problems show up. So, I encourage you to ask yourself honestly, am I paying enough attention to my blood sugar? Am I willing to make small changes to protect my long-term health? If the answer is not yet, then why not start today? Because steady blood sugar doesn't just lower your risk of diabetes. It protects the blood vessels in your brain, helps you think clearly, feel better, and stay sharp as you age. Life is a long road, and your brain is your compass. Keeping your blood sugar steady is one of the golden keys to enjoying the journey, with energy, clarity, and peace of mind. Habit 7. Drinking coffee on an empty stomach. The wake-up ritual that could knock you down. Now let me ask you something. Do you have that one sacred ritual in the morning? For many folks, especially those over 60, there's one thing that starts the day just right. That first cup of coffee. You know what I'm talking about. Some people even joke, I'm not human until I've had my first sip of coffee. And honestly, I get it. I'm a doctor, but I'm also human. And yes, I love the smell of fresh coffee in the morning, too. That little cup? It's not just caffeine, it's comfort. It's the way we greet a new day. But what happens when you drink that coffee on an empty stomach? You get a short burst of energy, but it might come at a long-term cost. Let me tell you about Mr. Walter, a kind, retired engineer, 68 years old. Every morning at 6 a.m., he'd wake up, brew a strong black coffee, and sip it while reading the news. "It helps me stay sharp and productive," he said. But not long ago, he started feeling off. His heart was racing a little. He felt jittery, lightheaded. At first, he thought it was just lack of sleep, but then came the tingling on the left side of his face. That's when he went to the hospital. Turns out, he'd had a transient ischemic attack, what we call a mini-stroke. And part of the reason? That morning cup of strong black coffee on an empty stomach, a habit he'd kept for over 10 years. Why is coffee on an empty stomach risky? Caffeine doesn't just wake you up, it kicks your body into high gear. It stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, the same one that fires when you're being chased by a lion. It spikes your adrenaline, which increases your heart rate, constricts your blood vessels, and shoots up your blood pressure. Now, if your stomach is empty, caffeine absorbs faster and hits harder. The result? Sudden spikes in blood pressure. A big danger if you already have hypertension or fragile blood vessels. Irregular heart rhythms, especially something called atrial fibrillation, a major risk factor for stroke. Constricted blood vessels in the brain leading to dizziness, lightheadedness, or even temporary loss of blood flow. This is especially dangerous in the morning, when your blood pressure is already naturally rising. Coffee on an empty stomach adds fuel to that fire. So what should you do? Can you still drink coffee? Absolutely. I'd never ask anyone to give up their beloved cup of coffee, especially not older adults who enjoy the ritual. But here's what I always recommend, and it makes a huge difference. 1. Drink water first. After a full night's sleep, your body is dehydrated. A glass of room temperature water gets your circulation going, thins the blood, and helps prepare your system to handle the caffeine better. 2. Eat something small. You don't need a full meal, just a little something. A slice of whole grain toast, a few bites of fruit, half a banana, or a boiled egg. Even a small bite slows down caffeine absorption and eases its impact on your blood vessels. 3. Keep your coffee moderate. 1 average cup is enough. Avoid going back for seconds, especially if you're sensitive to caffeine, prone to heart palpitations, or have a history of stroke. So, if anyone ever asks me, what's the easiest way to lower my risk of stroke each morning? I'll say this without hesitation. Don't drink coffee on an empty stomach. Habit 8. Ignoring morning dizziness or weakness. Don't let the first warning be your last wake-up call. Let me ask you something real simple. Have you ever woken up feeling a little dizzy? Like you couldn't quite balance yourself? Maybe your arm felt a bit weak, or you looked in the mirror and thought, my face looks slightly off today? And then you brushed it off. Maybe I slept wrong, it's just age, or I probably didn't drink enough water last night. You made your coffee, moved on, and forgot all about it. If that's ever happened to you, please, listen closely to what I'm about to say. Because sometimes, it's not just nothing, the silent intruder called a mini-stroke. Let me tell you about Joan, one of my patients. She's 72, lives alone outside of Portland. Active, independent, walks every morning around her neighborhood. One day she woke up feeling off, a bit weak, dizzy when she got out of bed, nearly fell. Her mouth felt numb on one side, but not enough to panic. She rested, drank some water, told herself, must have eaten too much salt yesterday. A few days later, she had a real stroke. This time it was clear, and it left her with permanent weakness in her right arm. When we looked back, that weird morning was actually a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, often called a mini-stroke. It lasted just a few minutes, maybe half an hour, then it disappeared. But here's the scary part. A TIA isn't the end. It's the warning shot. Roughly 1 in 3 people who experience a TIA will go on to have a major stroke within days or weeks if they don't get help. Morning, when the brain is most vulnerable. Why does it happen in the morning? Because your body is restarting after sleep. Blood pressure rises, blood vessels expand and contract. The heart picks up speed. If you already have risk factors like high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, or atrial fibrillation, these early morning shifts can trigger a shortage of blood to the brain. That's when dizziness, numbness, or weakness can hit. But the problem? Most people don't listen. They brush it off, blame it on age, bad sleep, a stiff neck, low hydration, and with each day that passes, the brain quietly loses its chance to be saved. So, what should you do if you feel dizzy, weak, or numb in the morning? I'm telling you from the heart. Don't wait. Don't guess. Don't hope it passes. Here's what to do right away. Write it down. The exact time and what you felt. Be specific. Was it your left side? Right? Was it numbness or weakness? Was it mild or intense? Record a short video of your face if you notice anything off. It helps doctors assess quickly. Call your doctor the same day. If symptoms return or last more than a few minutes, call 911. Don't think twice. Some of my patients say, "But I didn't want to bother anyone. I was feeling better." But here's the truth. You're not bothering anyone. You're saving yourself. Self-care means listening, even when it whispers. You can forget your keys. You can skip breakfast. But don't ignore your body, especially not your brain. The part of you that holds your memories, your personality, your joy, your story. 1 minute of hesitation could cost you months, even years of therapy, lost memories, or silent suffering from loved ones trying to care for you. There's a quote I always come back to. Listen when the body whispers, so you don't have to scream when it breaks. If every morning you ask yourself, how do I feel today, and answer honestly, you've already given yourself an edge many people never take. Because dizziness, numbness, weakness, they're never just normal. They can either be the first knock on the door from stroke or your last chance to slam that door shut. So now I ask you, which do you choose? Habit 9. Forgetting your meds or taking them the wrong way. When you unknowingly leave your brain unprotected. An older gentleman once said something to me that I'll never forget. At this age, every day feels like a negotiation with my medications. It made me chuckle. But when you look closely, it's actually a pretty honest truth. A lot of people, especially over 60, live with their meds the way they live with a roommate they didn't exactly choose. Familiar, necessary, and let's be real, kind of annoying. Now let me ask you, have you ever forgotten your morning meds? Or maybe taken them late? Doubled up because you weren't sure? Took them with coffee instead of water? If you nodded to any of that, I want you to read the rest of this with love for yourself. One tiny pill can be the thread holding everything together. Let me tell you about Dennis, 73 years old, one of my longtime patients. He had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and a history of brief atrial fibrillation. Every morning, he took 5 different pills, blood pressure meds, blood thinners, and something to keep his heart rhythm steady. But after his wife passed away, things changed. He started living alone, lost his routine, his motivation. Some mornings he forgot. Other days, he wasn't sure, so he took them twice. Then one morning, while making tea, Dennis collapsed. He'd had a major stroke. It left the right side of his body paralyzed. When we looked into what happened, there was no big event, just small mistakes, repeated over time. And eventually, his brain couldn't take the hits anymore. Taking your meds isn't just a chore, it's a way of loving yourself. A lot of folks see pills as this annoying chore they have to do. But I always tell my patients, don't think of it as depending on medication. Think of it as giving your body a fighting chance to stay well. Those little pills, especially the morning ones that control blood pressure, prevent blood clots, or lower cholesterol, they're not just lifeless tablets. They're your biological armor. They protect your brain, your heart, your future. Skipping even one dose, that's like walking into battle without your shield. Common mistakes that can be dangerous. Did you know that most strokes happen in the morning? That's when blood pressure naturally spikes after you wake up. So if you forget your blood pressure meds, boom, that morning spike gets even more dangerous. If you skip your blood thinner, a clot could easily form and travel straight to the brain. Even something as simple as taking meds with coffee instead of water, or on an empty stomach when you were told to take them after food, can reduce effectiveness or upset your stomach and heart. And please, don't make up for a missed dose by doubling it later. That can cause your blood pressure to drop too fast, make you dizzy, or even lead to a brain bleed. Simple fixes that actually work. You don't need to be a genius, just consistent. Here are a few tricks I often recommend to my patients. Use a weekly pill organizer, those little boxes labeled by day and time. They're cheap and super handy. Set a reminder on your phone. Let technology help. Tie your pill routine to something else you already do, like brushing your teeth in the morning. That habit link helps your brain remember better. If you're feeling confused, keep a simple med journal, or use one of the many free apps designed for seniors that remind you when and what to take. And the most important thing, never change your dose or stop a medication without talking to your doctor, even if you feel fine. Because a lot of times, that fine feeling is actually thanks to your meds quietly doing their job. A simple question to ask every morning. Ask yourself, have I protected my brain today? Sometimes one pill is the only thing standing between clarity and confusion, between walking strong and sitting in a wheelchair. So before you sip your coffee or turn on the TV each morning, pause and ask, did I take my meds on time today? That one little answer, if it's always yes, might just be the biggest act of love you give yourself each day. 10. Jumping out of bed too fast. When you force your brain to run before it's even awake. There's something I often say to my patients, especially those in their 60s or 70s. Mornings are not a race. You're not training for the Olympics. But you know what? A lot of people, without even realizing it, do the exact opposite. They wake up and boom, they spring out of bed like the day's already running without them. Now, if you're young, that might just leave you a bit dizzy. Maybe you wobble a little, then carry on. But if you're older, and especially if you've got blood pressure issues, heart problems, or poor circulation, getting up too fast can be a real danger to your brain. Here's why. After a full night of sleep, your body is in deep rest mode. Your heart is beating slower, blood pressure is lower, and your blood vessels are in this calm, relaxed state. When you open your eyes in the morning, your brain isn't fully online yet. It needs a little time to regulate blood flow, get your heart pumping steadily, and wake up the nervous system. But when you shoot straight up out of bed, it's like yanking the power cord on a sleeping machine. Your circulatory system hasn't caught up yet. Blood doesn't reach your brain fast enough, and suddenly, you feel dizzy. Your vision goes blurry, ears start ringing. Some people even pass out for a few seconds. It's called orthostatic hypotension, and it's more common than you might think. Now here's the real worry. This isn't just about feeling a little woozy. If you've got plaque buildup in your arteries or narrowing in the carotid artery, that sudden drop in brain blood flow can cause a mini stroke, a transient ischemic attack. And if it keeps happening over time, your risk of a full-blown stroke goes way up. I remember one of my patients, Mr. Lewis, 76. He lived alone and had a habit. Every day at 5:30 a.m., he'd shoot right out of bed and head downstairs to make his coffee. One morning, he felt a bit lightheaded but tried to walk anyway. He collapsed in the hallway and hit his head on the wall. Thankfully, his neighbor found him quickly. But when we did an MRI, we saw signs of a previous minor stroke, possibly from times he'd stood up too fast and never even knew it happened. After that scare, he changed his routine. Now every morning, he gives himself 2 full minutes. He stays lying down, takes a few slow breaths, gently stretches, rolls onto his side, and then slowly sits up, placing his hands on his knees to steady himself. He told me, "It takes 2 minutes, but my head feels clearer all day," and I believe him. Because when you give your brain a kind start, it gives you clarity in return. So instead of leaping out of bed like you're running late for life, try treating your body like something worth cherishing. Lie still. Take a few deep breaths. Stretch your arms and legs gently. Roll onto your side. Sit up slowly. Give your system a chance to log into the day. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. At this age, it's not about how fast you move. It's about how consciously you live. Because sometimes, rushing in the morning, just that quick jolt out of bed, can be the thing that triggers what nobody wants. A stroke that takes away your balance, your memory, or your independence. So if there's one morning habit I'd love for you to change starting tomorrow, it's this. Don't jump up right away. Wake up like someone who loves themselves. Your brain deserves that kind of care. Always. So here's the thing. It's the little things in the morning. A glass of water forgotten, a pill you didn't take, a dizzy moment you brushed off. They may seem small, but sometimes those tiny slips quietly open the door for a stroke to walk into your life. At this stage of life, we don't get to rewind the clock, but we can choose how we start each day. Every morning you wake up, you're given a chance to protect your brain, your heart, your clarity. And it doesn't take much, just a few simple, thoughtful habits. So tomorrow morning, start slow. Drink water, have a light bite, sit up gently, listen to your body, take your meds on time. Don't let rushing or forgetfulness rob you of the healthy, independent years you deserve. If this video helped you realize something that could improve your health, or maybe even save the life of someone you love, please share it today. A single click could keep someone from having a stroke, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more simple, practical health tips for life after 50, so you can live longer, feel stronger, and stay fully you every day. You deserve that, and so does your brain. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.